The launch of a mobile phone has raised concerns in Washington, D.C. The sanctions imposed by the United States have failed to prevent China from making critical technological progress. The Washington Post reported on September 2 that this seems to have fulfilled the warning of American chip manufacturers. Sanctions will not stop China, but it will stimulate China to double its efforts, creating alternatives to American technology. Earlier last week, on the occasion of the visit of U.S. Secretary of Commerce Gina Raymond to China, the new Huawei Mate 60 Pro has quietly launched online. Huawei chose to release new phones during Raymond's visit to China. The significance of not showing weakness in beauty is obvious, even with the meaning of slapping the U.S. Department of Commerce. After all, the technology ban on China, it is issued by the Industrial and Security Administration under the United States Department of Commerce. Singapore's Lian He Zhaobo said so. Actually, Huawei's new machine has attracted so much attention from the US side. The focus has been on whether it is a 5G and whether it is equipped with chips developed by Huawei. The source told it, Huawei Mate 60 Pro uses a 5G chip. There is an online video display, although there is no 5G logo anywhere inside the Mate 60 Pro phone. But the speed measurement software found that the network speed of this new phone easily exceeded 300 Mbps. The peak can even exceed 800 Mbps, reached the 5G network speed standard. In addition, there are also video displays. The Mate 60 Pro adopts the Kirin chip designed by Huawei's chip division HiSi. Some online media also point out that the chip adopts a 5nm process technology only one generation later than the latest technology. However, according to Bloomberg, unable to determine the manufacturer or advanced level of the chip, in the chip industry, processes of 7nm and below are advanced semiconductor processes, and it is a technical threshold for achieving high-end smartphone system-level chips. If the above information is true, this means that Huawei has broken through the technological limitations set by the United States, able to independently produce advanced chips. Currently, Huawei did not provide any explanation regarding this, but it has attracted great attention across the ocean. As early as 4 years ago, the U.S. Department of Commerce has included Huawei in its physical control list, prohibit U.S. suppliers from providing semiconductor technology and products to Huawei without permission. Washington has since further prohibited suppliers from providing any American technology, semiconductor products designed and manufactured by software in the United States. Nowadays, in just 4 years, Huawei broke through this blockade and suppressed it. As mentioned, according to a report in the Swiss newspaper Neue Zurich on September 1 Street, for China, this may be a major success in the technological conflict with the United States. This will inevitably cause concern and anger in Washington. BIS estimates that an investigation was initiated earlier. Make every effort to gather whether Huawei has evaded sanctions and secretly obtained U.S. technology. The Washington Post reported that, without a doubt, the new Huawei phone has sparked discussions about the next steps in development. Craig Allen, chairman of the National Committee on U.S.-China Trade, said that there are many actions, according to the report, regarding how the U.S. government should respond. The opinions of all parties differ. Triolo stated that this development is almost certain to trigger stronger calls, request further tightening of export control licenses for Huawei. On the other hand, American semiconductor companies hope to continue providing products to Chinese companies such as Huawei to maintain market share. However, no matter how much concern the U.S. has, speculation and actions are mainly due to political considerations. But for Huawei, besides political factors, there are also market considerations behind the belief. Apple will hold a press conference on September 12 local time in the United States. A new iPhone is expected to be released. Therefore, the outside world believes that Huawei is launching new phones without warning at this time. Perhaps we can seize the opportunity. Regardless of the considerations, the path of technological self-reliance and self-improvement is inevitable and will inevitably succeed. Despite all difficulties and dangers, there will eventually be a time when the light boat has passed the mountains. Huawei has been sanctioned by the U.S. chip ban. But the new flagship phone Mate 60 Pro can be sold without warning. Where do the new mobile phone chips come from? Former legislator Kai Zhangjiun stated that Huawei develops its own software, design chips, and then transferred to SMIC International for manufacturing, replacing Qualcomm chips with Kirin 9000 seconds chips. When it runs at a speed of 5G, it should be 7 nanometers. On the 2 end, Kai Zhangjiun stated in the program Forward Strategic Heights on Zhongtian that Huawei Mate 60 Pro is a mobile phone equipped with Kirin 9000 seconds chip. This is after the United States banned the export of Qualcomm chips to China. Huawei cannot obtain Qualcomm's chips, so I designed it myself. Kai Zhangjiun continued to point out that it's not easy for Huawei to design this phone. Huawei started by designing software, develop your own software, design chips, then transfer to SMIC for manufacturing. When it runs at a speed of 5G, it represents the design system of the entire series. Until the manufacturing of chips, they are already able to reach below 10 nanometers. After being tested now, it should be 7 nanometers otherwise. It is impossible to reach a speed of 5G. Kai Zhangjiun stated that the Kirin 9000 seconds chip can replace Qualcomm's chips. Of course, it may not necessarily be comparable to Qualcomm's highest level chips, but reaching 5G is no longer a problem. This is a major breakthrough for Huawei. The Harmonious operating system is independently developed by Huawei, made its debut at the Huawei Developer Conference on August 90, 2019. It is a full-scene distributed OS based on microkernel. Adopting a distributed architecture can achieve seamless collaborative experience across terminals. Next year, we will be able to see Hongmeng PC on the market. It is worth mentioning that Wang Chenglu has served as the president of Huawei's BG Software Department, president of Huawei Consumer Business AI and Smart Full Scenario Business Department. According to a message from the basic software community, the open-source Hongmeng system has been adapted to PC devices and released relevant video demonstration screenshots. It is reported that this is the first time that the open-source Hongmeng system has been run on a PC device, showcased its advantages in cross-platform and compatibility, as can be seen from it. The open-source Hongmeng system can start normally on a PC, login, running applications, networking and other functions, and the interface is simple and beautiful, smooth operation. It is understood that, this time, open-source Hongmeng has adapted a total of 2 devices. The devices all use CPU with x86 architecture. That is to say, Open Harmony has basically completed its adaptation for x86 architecture CPUs. Additionally, the engineer has completed the USB, network interface, SATA port, driver adaptation for hardware interfaces such as PCIe. The driver for the laptop's built-in keyboard and touchpad is still being adapted. The open-source Hongmeng system is a distributed operating system for intelligent life in all scenarios. It supports multiple device types, like mobile phones, flat panel, intelligent wearing, smart home, etc., and it has a distributed architecture, natural interaction, features such as seamless collaboration. Another operating system in China, Kirin, has also received support from Intel on August 30. The official account of Opencolin announced that, recently, Intel Asia Pacific R&D Co., Ltd. signed the Opencolin Community CLA, formally joined the Opencolin open source community, according to the introduction. After joining the Opencolin community, Intel will leverage its advanced SoC, global R&D resources and a rich IA software and hardware ecosystem, and over 20 years of experience in open-source community participation and open-source software development, to promote the software and hardware promotion and application of Linux on PC in China. Meanwhile, Intel will conduct in-depth cooperation with the Opencolin community, establish the SIG group for x86 IA, and hold regular working group meetings, develop an Intel Open-Kylin work plan, assist Opencolin in technological innovation based on IA architecture, to improve the quality and speed of the development of the Opencolin Linux desktop operating system. For example, Hybrid Core, XBOO for AI, the efficient use of GPUs and other operating systems for the future, thus creating the integration and development of the OpenCLAN Linux desktop operating system and IA architecture innovation ecosystem in China. There is still a long way to go from technological improvement to commercial large-scale application. When can the market share exceed 15% of the survival share? In the high-tech field of China, a company is like a shining flag. Its name is Huawei. For ordinary consumers, Huawei's name is closely linked to smartphones, especially with the release of the Kirin chip. It sparked widespread discussion and excitement. Starting from the Kirin 980, Huawei's chips have engaged in a fierce competition with Qualcomm, won a reputation for outstanding performance. It has also gradually consolidated Huawei's high-end mobile phone market position. However, Huawei's development path is not smooth sailing. The former Honor brand was divested due to various pressures. Huawei has to focus on high-end products such as Mate and P series. The unfair treatment in the United States has put Huawei in a difficult position, has been sanctioned, the supply chain has been disrupted. The cooperation between OEM factories such as TSMC has also come to an end. The production of Kirin chips has stagnated. This has posed a huge impact on Huawei's mobile phone business. At this critical moment, Huawei is forced to switch to Qualcomm's Snapdragon chips, but due to the impact of the ban, these chips had to give up 5G functionality. This undoubtedly weakens the competitiveness of the product. However, Huawei's latest series, Mate 50, is still highly sought after. Despite the ups and downs, Huawei still holds a market share of around 7% in the Chinese market in 2021. In the high-end market of China, Huawei still ranks first in domestic production. This gives people hope, with the improvement of the supply chain and the promotion of domestic substitution. Huawei's mobile phone business is still expected to continue. However, recently, some media reported that the United States is considering completely cutting off all connections with Huawei, prohibit Intel, Qualcomm and other American suppliers provide any products to Huawei. If this action is implemented, Huawei's mobile phone business will suffer a fatal blow. Huawei's mobile phone business highly relies on Qualcomm's chips. Once this support is lost, its business will face unprecedented challenges. It's not just about 4 grams and 5G anymore, it's about the survival of the business. However, at a time when people are worried, there is news of a turnaround. According to reports, at the recent financial report, Qualcomm stated that it expects to continue providing 4G license for Wi-Fi and other chips. These licenses have been approved by Congress, and it will continue for several years. This news has reignited a glimmer of hope among people. Some netizens believe that the previous news may have been a negotiation strategy of the United States, intended to exert pressure or test China's response. China, as an important player in the global semiconductor market, many American semiconductor companies have huge interests in the Chinese market. If completely cut off, it will cause significant damage to the United States itself. Of course, this does not mean that vigilance can be relaxed. In the past few years, the sanctions imposed by the United States are constantly escalating, not slowing down. The development of China's semiconductor industry cannot rely on the goodwill of the other party. This has become a consensus among Chinese high-tech companies such as Huawei. Everyone is working hard to promote domestic substitution, to completely break free from external constraints, ensure one's own sustainable development. Anyway, as a representative of China's high-tech industry, Huawei, having experienced glory and setbacks, but always adhere to the path of innovation, despite numerous difficulties, Huawei, with its own strength and unremitting efforts, still standing proudly in the market. In the future, although full of variables, but Huawei has enough resilience and wisdom to tackle various challenges, create a more brilliant tomorrow. No matter how unpredictable the external environment may be, Huawei is sticking to its path and going further and further. Looking back on Huawei's journey, it is not difficult to find that it has always adhered to the concept of independent innovation. Since the introduction of the Kirin chip, a breakthrough in the field of mobile photography, Huawei has demonstrated its technological strength. The launch of the Kirin 980 enabling Huawei to engage in a head-on battle with Qualcomm in the field of chips. Gradually catching up, Huawei's mobile photography technology has led the industry trend, redefining the possibility of mobile photography. Whether it's night view mode in low-light environments or the introduction of super photosensitive sensors, all of these have made Huawei phones the preferred choice for photography enthusiasts. Impact. But it is precisely in this predicament that Huawei has demonstrated its adaptability and resilience. Abandoned the Honor brand, Huawei has refocused its attention on the Mate and P series, launch and impact on the high-end market. Although Qualcomm's Snapdragon chips cannot support 5G, but Huawei still launched the popular Mate 50 series, stabilized market share. Huawei's resilience does not come out of thin air. It is built on continuous independent research and development. Despite facing the dilemma of supply chain disruption, Huawei has not stopped moving forward. On the contrary, it has increased investment in domestic substitution, promote the vigorous development of China's semiconductor industry. This measure not only reduces Huawei's dependence, it has also injected new vitality into the sustainable development of China's entire technology industry chain. At the same time as external pressure, Huawei is also continuously optimizing its own structure and strategic layout internally, especially in the adjustment of senior management. Huawei pays more attention to stimulating the vitality of internal innovation, strengthen the cohesion of the team. Huawei is never satisfied with the status quo, continuously exploring broader development space. Whether it's the leading layout of 5G technology or an imagination of the future digital society, Huawei is striving for it, just like every successful enterprise. Huawei does not exist in isolation. Its development is closely related to the entire industrial chain. Collaboration with American suppliers such as Qualcomm provided indispensable support for Huawei. Recently, Qualcomm stated that it will continue to provide relevant licenses to Huawei. This is undoubtedly a shot in the arm for Huawei. However, Huawei is well aware that, to ensure long-term development, independent innovation is the key. Only by continuously improving core technologies, strengthen one's own strength, to overcome adversity and overcome obstacles, meet the challenges of the future. In summary, Huawei, as the banner of China's high-tech industry, we have gone through a journey of interweaving glory and setbacks. Whether it's technological innovation or market challenges, Huawei has demonstrated its courage and wisdom. Despite the unpredictable external environment, Huawei still adheres to independent innovation, continuously challenge oneself. Forged my own legend. Huawei has over 120,000 valid authorized patents, 22 in the United States alone, more than 000 patents. It is the first company in China's China National Intellectual Property Administration and European Patent Office in 2021-2022. It is also the company with the world's largest number of PCT international patent applications in China in 2022. Investment only in research and development, Huawei far surpasses companies in the same industry. In the past decade, Huawei's research and development expenditure exceeds 970 billion yuan. In 2022, Huawei's R&D expenditure exceeded 160 billion yuan. It is precisely these massive R&D investments that let Huawei lead far in all fields, bringing consumers constantly iterating new features, new technologies. Recently, Huawei has released a patent called a chip packaging and a preparation method for chip packaging, committed to chip packaging technology and methods. The release of this patent is of great significance for improving chip performance. Not only has it brought tremendous advantages to Huawei's own technological research and development, it has also injected new vitality into the development of the entire chip industry. It is understood that this chip packaging technology includes substrates, bare chip, the first protective structure and barrier structure. The bare chip, the first protective structure and the barrier structure are both arranged on the first surface of the substrate. The first protective structure wraps around the side of the bare chip. The barrier structure wraps around the surface of the first protective structure away from the bare chip. And the first surface of the bare chip, the first surface of the first protective structure is flush with the first surface of the barrier structure. Among them, the first surface of the bare chip is the surface of the bare chip away from the substrate. The first surface of the first protective structure is the surface of the first protective structure away from the substrate. The first surface of the barrier structure is the surface of the barrier structure away from the substrate. Simply put, by cleverly combining these elements, Huawei's chip packaging can effectively improve the performance and stability of chips. The substrate serves as the main supporting structure for chip packaging, capable of providing stable electrical connections and mechanical support, ensure the normal operation of the chip. Bare chips are the core of chip packaging. It integrates numerous functional units and circuit components. It is the soul of the entire chip. The first protective structure and barrier structure can effectively protect the bare chip, prevent it from external interference and damage. And recently, the China National Intellectual Property Administration announced that Huawei Technologies Co. Limited patents for lithography devices and their control methods. It is reported that this patent is related to EUV lithography machines. It can solve the problem of coherent light not being evenly distributed. That is, it can solve the problem of the inability to evenly distribute light due to the formation of a fixed interference pattern. The reflection surface of the reflector includes multiple micro-reflection surfaces. Multiple micro-reflective surfaces include a first micro-reflective surface and a second micro-reflective surface adjacent to the first micro-reflective surface. There is a height difference between the first reflecting surface and the second reflecting surface. Height difference H is located within the interval. Among them, the wavelength of extreme ultraviolet light, K, is a positive integer greater than or equal to 1. As a leading global supplier of communication technology and equipment, Huawei, we have been committed to promoting technological innovation and industrial development. By continuously investing research and development resources and strengthening technical cooperation, Huawei has achieved remarkable results in the field of chips. The publication of this chip packaging patent, undoubtedly, it has injected new impetus into Huawei's competitiveness in the field of chip technology. Meanwhile, this is also Huawei's active response to the national call: strengthen independent innovation. Specific manifestations of improving independent research and development capabilities, with the continuous progress of technology and changes in the market. Chips, as the cornerstone of the information society, playing an increasingly important role, and the chip packaging patent announced by Huawei, undoubtedly, it will bring new opportunities and challenges to the development of the chip industry. It can not only improve the performance and stability of chips, it also provides useful reference for other enterprises in the field of chip research and development. I believe that under the leadership of Huawei, chip technology will usher in a broader development space, make greater contributions to promoting the prosperity of the entire information industry. The chip packaging patent announced by Huawei is undoubtedly a significant innovation achievement. It not only provides significant advantages for Huawei's own technological research and development, it has also injected new vitality into the development of the entire chip industry. I believe in the near future, Huawei will continue to play a leading role in the chip field, make more outstanding contributions to promoting technological innovation and industrial progress. The United States has repeatedly revised chip rules, restricting the shipment of a large number of enterprises such as TSMC, resulting in the temporary inability to manufacture chips such as the Kirin 9000. Yu Chengdong publicly stated that Huawei's failure to enter the heavy asset chip manufacturing industry was a mistake. Subsequently, it was announced that it would fully enter the field of chip semiconductors. It also invested heavily in the Chinese chip industry chain through Hubbell to produce and manufacture chips. You must have a lithography machine. The United States has always been trying to limit ASMA's shipments. After using the Wassenaar Agreement to restrict the shipment of EUV lithography machines, I also want to restrict the shipment of mainstream DUV lithography machines. May not only lobbied ASME, we also signed a tripartite agreement restricting the shipment of mainstream DUV lithography machines from the Netherlands. The purpose is to cut off the supply chain of advanced chip technology, set the manufacturing technology of Chinese chips above 28 nm. After the signing of the tripartite agreement, the Netherlands has stated that it will cooperate with the United States to implement export controls on related semiconductor equipment. Effective from September 1 STT, as a result, Huawei Mate 60 Pro suddenly went online for pre-sale. This surprised the outside world deeply, although Huawei did not disclose chip information, but a professional conducted disassembly verification discovered that Huawei Mate 60 Pro is equipped with a chip printed with HiC 2035CN. In other words, this means that the chip is a Hisense chip manufactured in China. More detailed chip information, we can only wait for Huawei's official announcement, but foreign media reported that ASMA in the Netherlands suddenly changed. The Netherlands immediately approved ASMA's shipping license. After the signing of the tripartite agreement, ASMA stated that they will apply for permission. The Dutch government may approve, you may also refuse, but we will insist on shipping the 1980i model lithography machine. After Huawei Mate 60 Pro suddenly started pre-sale, the Netherlands directly approved ASMA's application. ASMA has officially announced that it will continue to ship 2000i and subsequent immersion lithography machines. This fully indicates that ASMA in the Netherlands is concerned that China's advanced lithography machines have broken through. I am even more concerned about ASMA's rapid decline in market share in China. After all, the Chinese market is ASMA's third largest market, contributing over 23 billion yuan in revenue in 2022, but in undelivered lithography machine orders from China account for over 20. The order amount exceeds 60 billion yuan. Actually, after modifying the chip rules, Huawei has vigorously laid out its presence in the field of chip semiconductors. ASMA's concerns in the Netherlands are also normal. In terms of chips, Huawei encourages HiSilicon to comprehensively climb Mount Everest and make breakthroughs. There is no profit requirement for HiC, even less likely to lay off employees, and recruit chip doctoral candidates globally. The key is, for chip semiconductor technology, Huawei has invested over 440 billion yuan in research and development over the past 3 years. It also invested heavily in the Chinese chip industry chain through Hubble data display. Huawei Hubble has invested in nearly 100 chip semiconductor companies, including wafer manufacturing, EDA tools, 5G filter, RF chips, etc. Only lithography machine light source technology enterprises. Huawei has invested in more than 10 companies. Huawei also collaborated with SMIC to make breakthroughs. After modifying the chip rules, we transferred some of the orders to SMIC International. After Huawei announced the collaboration with Chinese manufacturers to achieve localization of EDA tools above 14 nanometers, SMIC International also suddenly discontinued its 14 nanometers process introduction. According to the message, this move is to collaborate with Chinese manufacturers to conduct non-beautification verification of the 14 nanometers process. The key is, SMIC has already completed the 7 nanometers research and development task. We also conducted small-scale trial production of N1 process chips. Huawei fully entered the field of chip semiconductors 3 years ago. It will inevitably promote the advancement of advanced technology in SMIC International. Moreover, the Chinese semiconductor industry chain has the ability to create DUV lithography machines. The chip manufacturing process can be reduced to 7 nm. TSMC's attitude towards Zhang Zhongmu suddenly changed significantly, starting to accelerate the shipment of 7 nanometers and other chips to China. That's why it's said that the foreign media, Dutch ASME, suddenly changed. After all, the breakthrough speed of China's semiconductor industry chain has exceeded external expectations. The battle in the technology industry is raging. The rapid development of 5G technology has sparked a fierce competition worldwide. In this competition, Huawei, with its self-developed 5G chip, completely overturned the dominant position of American companies in the chip industry. However, the process behind this is not as flat as it appears on the surface. This article will re-examine Huawei's rise in the field of 5G chips and the various challenges and transformations faced. The rise of 5G technology is an unstoppable trend. As early as Huawei launched the world's first 5G dual-mode chip, it demonstrates its technical strength in this field. However, this is not the end of Huawei. They were the first to launch the first 5G SoC chip in the 7nm and 5nm processes, pushing market competition to a new climax. It is particularly worth mentioning that the Kirin 9000 became a leader in the 5G SoC market at that time, won Huawei's reputation and market share. However, with Huawei's rise in the field of 5G chips, the United States has also taken a series of countermeasures. The United States has repeatedly revised chip rules, restricted the shipment of chip companies such as Qualcomm. Even shipment restrictions have been imposed on wafer foundry companies such as TSMC. This has had a serious impact on Huawei's self-developed chip plan. In order to address this dilemma, Huawei announced its full involvement in the field of chip semiconductors and invest heavily in the Chinese chip industry chain. Meanwhile, TSMC and other companies are also actively striving to obtain licenses and plans to build factories in the United States. The reversal of this situation has become the key to the Huawei chip incident. However, the development of the situation was unexpected. Firstly, TSMC and Samsung have obtained licenses, continue to expand its production capacity in China and improve its technological level. Next, there is news coming from the United States. Announce the conditions for lifting the ban on chips. Allow enterprises to ship goods to China. However, behind these conditions, some calculations from the United States are highlighted. Chinese enterprises can only develop advanced technology in their local livelihood economy. In the international market, it can only exist in the form of components or OEM. Terminal services are prohibited. Huawei firmly resists this. Ren Zhengfei insists on Huawei achieving comprehensive breakthroughs. Not only does it promise to invest 20% of revenue in research and development, we also support its subsidiary, Hisense, in overcoming semiconductor technology challenges. Meng Wanzhou also stated that Huawei will unremittingly strive for independent innovation. Even if it is affected by revenue and profits in the short term, it will not hesitate. Some comments suggest that the underlying operation of American chip companies is that they are no longer able to withstand Huawei's strong competition. Therefore, it is necessary to issue licenses to companies such as TSMC and propose the so-called lifting conditions. Data display: Chinese manufacturers are gradually reducing their import of chips. Many Chinese companies have been able to produce self-developed chips with superior performance. Its process technology is leading globally. The yield of Huawei's own 14nm process has reached a world-leading level. The N1 process also achieved the expected results. The 7nm research and development task has also been completed. It is expected that the full process of 7nm chips not manufactured in the United States will be achieved in the next 12 months. Huawei's success is not limited to the chip field. It has also expanded to multiple fields. Huawei has successfully connected the Chinese mobile phone industry chain, promoted the localization of EDA tools above 14nm, and significant breakthroughs have been made in areas such as databases and ERP systems. In the field of 5G, Huawei has ushered in a new era. Its 5G to B contract quantity is globally leading. Enterprise digital transformation is also at the forefront of the industry. In addition, Huawei's revenue has shown a trend of stopping decline and rebounding. It is expected to resume dual flagship mode. The outside world generally believes that its future development prospects are optimistic. Overall, Huawei's development in the 5G chip field has been full of twists and turns and changes. Despite facing various challenges, Huawei still adheres to the path of independent innovation, committed to achieving greater breakthroughs in the semiconductor field. Discontinuous evolution: I believe Huawei will usher in new opportunities in the near future. Despite attempts by the United States to restrict Huawei through various means, but Huawei, with its unwavering determination and ability to innovate independently, gradually breaking free from external constraints, achieved technological breakthroughs and independent development. In the 5G field, Huawei's success also represents the overall strength of Chinese technology enterprises. Through independent research and development, Huawei has become a leading global provider of 5G technology. Not only has significant breakthroughs been made in the field of chips. Still on my phone, communication equipment, and other fields have demonstrated strong capabilities, Huawei actively participates in the development of China's chip industry chain, injecting new impetus into the rise of China's semiconductor industry. However, the challenges faced by Huawei remain daunting. The competition in the international market remains fierce. The progress of technology is constantly changing. Huawei must continuously strengthen its research and development capabilities, maintain a leading position in technology. Meanwhile, international cooperation will also become crucial, despite various restrictions imposed by the United States. However, Huawei still needs to actively seek cooperation with enterprises from other countries, jointly promote the development of global 5G technology in the Chinese market. Huawei also needs to continue to strengthen cooperation with other industry chain links, further integrate resources to achieve coordinated development of the industrial chain. Especially in the wave of digital transformation, Huawei will have more opportunities to collaborate with enterprises from various industries, promote the development of the digital economy.